Do you feel like if you're not pushing yourself to absolute exhaustion in every workout, then it's just pointless? Because a lot of my clients feel the same, but I'm going to show you why working to your maximum, especially in something like your cardio, is leading you to burn out, give up, lose motivation, and just have more injuries. Because this all or nothing mentality, whether it be your nutrition, whether it be your exercise, is keeping you stuck in the same cycle of failure over and over again. I'm going to give you my simple talk test to help make your cardio better, more effective, and stop you hating every single gym session, which means you're more consistent in the long run. So you might be more familiar with something called RPE, or rate of perceived exertion. Basically the scale is 0 to 10, which basically says 0, you're doing absolutely nothing. 10 feels like an all-out effort, feel like shit, it's something you can't do again. But I asked my clients, 2 of them actually, in fact in a session the other day, to do a 7 out of 10 pace on this piece of kit. And they're not the first ones to struggle here, but they both were like, well, what's that? And I'm like, okay, right, we have some work to do here. So for them, what I first did was actually make them do a 10 out of 10 effort. So a full sprint on this, which would look something like this. Because now they've got a reference point. They did 3 sets of that for 20 seconds, right? With a minute's rest in between. And they were bollocks afterwards. And this proved my point. They can't sustain maximal effort for very long. And it will make them sore tomorrow. They felt a bit queasy in the moment. And it's not going to make you want to do it again all the time. This is why this RPE scale, which I'm going to use the talk test to simplify, is really, really important. Because you don't want to feel this way with every session, because you're not going to want to come back. So the talk test is based on your breathing and how you speak. So for 0 to 3, this is basically super low effort, where I can basically just move around on this, toddle my legs over. I can talk to you without any elevated breathing, and you wouldn't know any different. That is zone 0 to 3. Zone 4 to 6 is a little bit more of a sustained effort. And what you'll hear is my breath starts to increase a wee bit, but I can still talk in full sentences. That's the key point. I can still talk in full sentences. You could just hear an elevated breathing pattern whilst I'm doing this exercise. The next one's a bit harder for me to do whilst I'm talking to you, but it will prove a point. 7 to 9 is basically broken words or sentences whilst talking, okay? So basically it will sound like, if I was telling you a story, it would sound like that's how it sounds. So I'll try and replicate it here now. So that's kind of getting there. I can talk in a bit, but my heart rate's up there enough. Now it's making it hard to make full sentences. And I have to take a breath every few seconds. That is 7 to 9. You can hear it in my breathing, it's more labored. It's harder to talk. That tells me they're working hard, but they're not maximal. The difference between zone 7 to 9 and zone 10 is maximal. Unable to talk, probably feeling a bit nauseous, lightheaded, and real big discomfort in the body, okay? So we've gone all the way up the scale. 0 to 3, just for a recap. 0 to 3, no change in breathing, very easy conversation. 4 to 6, elevated breathing, full sentences. 7 to 9, broken words or sentences, very elevated breathing. 10, unable to talk. Practicing using this in your cardio session will change it. You will become fitter. You'll be able to do more. You'll be able to work longer. So for example, if I asked you to do 10 minutes at a 7 out of 10 effort where you've got broken words and broken speech, you would be able to achieve that and you'd be able to do it for the 10 minutes. Versus the maximum, you've barely got a minute's worth of work with that elevated heart rate. You're not building any capacity with that maximal work unless you do enough rounds. Whereas these higher elevated heart rates, which you can sustain for longer periods of time, they're going to make you fitter far quicker because you're able to do more volume. It's like if you went into the gym and lifted your maximum weight on a squat, did 1 rep, you ain't going to build muscle or more strength doing that because you haven't done enough reps. If you took 10 to 20% off your maximum lift and did 3 to 4 reps of it for a couple of sets, you would get far more stronger and far more muscle than doing it with maximum loads. The talk test is just one tool I use. This real secret is to use this in the context of a smart, progressive training program that uses other things to manage your ability to lift heavy and push yourself to your max. Using things like tempos, constraints, timings, all those sorts of things so you don't constantly have to lift heavy to get stronger. It's making you feel like you're working hard despite not pushing all out, which means you can stick to this for longer because you get less niggles, less aches, and you feel like you want to do it more often. And I did a 25-minute podcast going into these specific techniques, building on this even further. So if you want the full episode of the podcast, comment the word podcast below and I'll send you the link. And if you want to do something else right now, I'm running a free 7-day anti-diet challenge. It's an email-based course that would give you a new lesson every single day for 7 days at no cost to you to help you break out of the diet mentality. So if you want that, comment the word diet below and I add you to my list.